That video was depicted right before she took a flight to Houston, Texas, which then connected from Houston to LaGuardia Airport there in New York. We believe she stayed there in the northeastern part, New York, New Jersey, for approximately 4 days. And then we were able to confirm about a week and a half ago that she did receive transportation and was last dropped off at that airport there in New Jersey, at the Newark International Airport.
That's Brandon Filla from the U.S. Marshals. They're looking for Kaitlin Armstrong, the woman with the flowing long hair and the yoga mat. Suspected murderer. Suspected murderer. Take a look at a timeline we have for you here to kind of track a little bit of her movements. As we said, May 13th, she sells her Grand Cherokee, South Austin, Texas, CarMax. $12,200 she gets for it. So she's got 12 G's in her pocket. May 14th, Austin International Bergstrom Airport, boarded a flight to Houston Hobby Airport. May 14th, Houston Hobby connecting flight to New York LaGuardia, okay? May 18th then is dropped off at Newark Liberty International Airport. Here is more from Brandon Filla, Deputy U.S. Marshal.
We are 100%, it's confirmed she did receive transportation by someone close to her and was last dropped off at that Newark International Airport there in New Jersey.
Let me bring back in my investigators, Jason Jensen, David Katz with us. All right, David Katz, I know you've tracked people that probably a little more sophisticated in the world of crime, right? But these are serious charges. How is it that here we are at the end of June and she has not been tracked down? How far can she go on $12,200?
Well, that's an interesting question. So let me posit to you something. I'll give you a scenario that's similar to a case that I had. I had a fugitive who wasn't using credit cards, wasn't using his vehicle, disappeared, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what he did. Turns out he was a very, very good-looking guy, much like yourself. He meets a girl on a beach. Within 30 seconds of their meeting, she wants to have a relationship. He gives her a false name, moves in with her. And how would you possibly find someone like that? He's not making phone calls home, not contacting friends. You're with someone who there is no documented connection to. So this could could be the case. She could meet somebody and say, well, you know, she's fleeing an abusive husband or God knows. But the point is, if she's not leaving an electronic trail, she's not using a known vehicle. And it's Newark, not Newark, by the way, typical Texan, right? If she's not outbound on a flight, well, then we're gonna have to wait till there's a sighting, whether someone says, you know, I think she looked like, you know, maybe someone recognizes her. I would be very stunned if the red hair is still red, if the long flowing locks are still long. So if she changes her appearance, it makes it even more difficult. So it's really not that hard to disappear, given the fact that she does have some cards to play.
That's I never even thought of that scenario. Meeting a complete stranger, doesn't know who you are, and being like really nice and like so in love with them, and they're just going to take care of you. Jason Jensen, I know you have some theories on how she may be surviving out there and eluding authorities.
Sure, I mean, definitely, I agree with what we've heard so far, but definitely she, I believe, is traveling under her sister's name, because when she was in New York, those 4 days that we're all talking about, she goes to Livingston Manor, where there's a Camp Haven where her sister Christine works. So her sister gets a driver's license on the 17th, the day before they're going to Newark. So sounds like it's a convenient stop on the way. Now she's got a license with a different name, and given the fact that her sister's name is Christine Elizabeth, she can have any combination that she's using in the public. Hi, my name's Christy, my name's Liz, or any other combination. So she could be Liz Armstrong right now from New York, working at a diner in the middle of Iowa. Who knows?
How about the fact, David, that it was someone close to her who dropped her at the airport? So this is on the 18th. Homicide warrant on the 17th, but the arrest warrant for unlawful flight issued on the 25th. It seems to me they know who dropped her, so they're going to put some pressure on that person, certainly.
Oh, of course, but and let's assume for a moment she is using the sister's ID. The marshals know that absolutely without any question. So they're not just looking for her. They're looking for every possible alias. You would expect a family member to be helpful to a relative under a stressful situation like this, but that only is going to go so far. Once the marshals explain that, by the way, you're now in legal jeopardy. Well, familial love is going to get you to maybe I'll help you as much as I can, and that's it. And even if they're squeezing her, which they probably are with that whoever that person is, there's no guarantee that whoever drove her to the airport knows her future plans. By the way, she probably didn't take an outbound flight because unless they know it aren't putting it out there. But Newark also has hubs. You can take a train right back to New York City. There's no ID required. You could be anywhere. There's a bus. You can get transportation where you won't have to show an ID, whether it's your own or relatives.
Which is easier to disappear into? Being in the middle of nowhere or being someplace like New York City? Which can you kind of go off the grid and just kind of not be noticed? Jason, I'll start with you. Now, I want to hear from both of you on that.
Well, it's easy to hide from people in rural settings, but definitely you can blend in with a complete new disguise in a heavy populated city like New York, where she's got jet black hair, it's short now. She's talking with an accent, maybe get a couple tattoos, and she could be completely goth now, and nobody would even recognize her.
David, what are your thoughts? I mean, we've seen some folks who who are survivalists who take off into the woods, right? But what are your thoughts about someone like this with her yoga mat? Is she better off kind of blending into the big city or heading out into the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, my suspicion is she's not living off the land. Okay, even when you're a fugitive, you have basic needs: shelter, food, water. You've got to have a place to wash up. You have a place to sleep. So she doesn't strike me unless there's some unless she was a Girl Scout back in the day. I doubt that. She probably is going to places where she can get help. And you're in New York. Let's say you're in New York City. There is no better place to hide yourself if you just change your appearance a little bit, you make up a plausible story, and you get in with the crowd, and then you're fine. Yes, can you hide? You can hide in a rural setting, sure, but New York City, I'd disappear there in a second.
And you disappeared from New York, that's for sure. David Katz,
yeah, I did.
Joining us tonight in the great state of Texas. Jason Jensen out in Utah. Appreciate your time tonight, guys. We'll see you again real soon.
Okay, thanks, man. Bye, Jason.